Hi, my name's Adad Hanna, and I'm an artist living in Vancouver. I did my undergrad at Carr, and then I did my master's and Ph.D. at Concordia University in Montreal. At the moment, I'm working on several projects at the same time, which is how it tends to be these days. So the project here is like a sculptural installation. I'm working on some bronze sculptures. I'm working on some photo projects, video projects, so a bit all over the place. As an artist, it's always fun for me to have parameters. So if you're given a blank canvas, sometimes it can be more challenging. So here in this space, the parameters are, it has to be in the courtyard, there's a certain budget, the project has to be up for a year through rain, snow, freezing conditions, brutal sunlight. And so with those parameters in place, I settled on the idea of a display case. So a greenhouse full of objects. And it kind of built forms within the greenhouse and then objects that sit on it. So it'll kind of look like a museum display, but a kind of, you'll kind of notice something's not quite right. And the objects are maybe not like museum grade objects, not the kind of thing you normally see on display. And then the objects will get switched out during the exhibition. So it'll start with my objects and some objects people have brought in. And then later on, those objects will be replaced by people in the community. A lot of my projects are, I'll have a set number of days to kind of put it together. So for this project, we have 5 days between when we started on Monday and when the show opened on Friday. And the objects are objects, and a lot of them are stuff people have brought in from the community. So it's always daunting, nervous, fun, exciting to work with these because there's so many unknowns. But for me as an artist, that's part of what I enjoy, that kind of unknown and that kind of puzzle solving and kind of not knowing where you're going, but kind of heading in the direction of something. I'm currently working on some bronzes, actually a bronze version of Picasso's Guernica. So I'm building sculptures in my studio and then 3D scanning them and then getting them produced out of bronze. I'm also working on a project where I have models dressed and then cut away their clothing to reveal. So in some parts the clothing is left covering them, in some parts the clothing opens and you see their flesh underneath. So kind of a cutaway project, building on a project I did actually like 10 years ago. I'm working on a project around Degas' Absinthe Drinker. And for that project I took this painting that kind of is, you can tell that the painting is influenced by photography and produced around the birth of photography. And so I've taken that apart and put it back together as photo and videos. I guess I've always tried to avoid being associated with a particular media. For one, this kind of gives me more freedom as an artist to not be pigeonholed, and then when I decide I want to do a bronze sculpture, it's not the weirdest thing ever because I've kind of carved out some space for myself that allows me to wander around and work in whatever media makes sense for the particular project. In my work, in this project here and in my work in general, I like to kind of allow people to think of themselves in the museum, in the gallery, and how they activate the work, interact with the work, affect the work, provide or help build the work sometimes. And so in this project, it's kind of like that, because when you see the objects and you start to think about, is this a museum project, is it not? Are these museum objects, are they not? Then you start to think about, okay, what happens in a museum? What is this place? Where am I? And then what am I doing in this place? Whenever I hear the question, what will people take away from this project? I'd never, maybe it's a cop-out, but my answer to that is that I don't have anything that I want people to take away from it. And that I hope that people, everybody will experience it in their own way. And so, I prefer to not have my work be too didactic and let people kind of experience the work, interact with it, and take away whatever they do based on, what they come to the work with, what they get from the work, and what they leave with or without. A lot of my projects are put together with people from the community, so whether they're bringing things in, coming and helping paint. Here, Connor Charlesworth and Emily came and helped. Connor even brought his dad in one day. And so there's some nice kind of like community interactions in projects. And then a lot of people also brought in objects for us to use. So we didn't meet all those people, but it's fun to kind of sort through their objects and see how they could become part of the artwork. And I like the idea of the community coming down to look at the project and then also seeing things they brought down kind of hidden here and there within the project.